Hello, guys. My name is Bruno, and this is Football Worldwide, bringing you a Champions League edition. Match day 1 of the Champions League has now been concluded, and there were some surprises, some shocks, and some amazing performances. So we're not going to go around in this too long, and thank you for the 10 viewers who are sitting in stream with us at the moment. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. So match day 1, all done and dusted. And we instead of going from the 2 days, we'll go down the group. So we had Ajax taking on Rangers, and Ajax just managed to get the job done easily. It was a beautiful 4-0 victory on their behalf. And you'd think with the raid that happened there at Ajax throughout the transfer window, they would have struggled a little bit, but the Rangers were nowhere to be seen in this fixture. They did have a goal ruled off for offside, which was, of course, offside, but Rangers, they were 3-0 up after 33 minutes, and it was just their game to control. They had 75% of the ball possession, and like always, I don't even know if it's right to call them the dark horses because they always seem to be performing. So that on its own was a fantastic performance by the Rangers there. But some would say that this was an upset. The next fixture in Group A, Napoli 4, Liverpool 1. My gosh, it was beautiful to see Liverpool struggle. But Napoli, they were playing fantastic direct football. We saw Ajax controlling a lot of the game with the possession. Well, Liverpool had 61% of the possession, but they didn't know what to do with it. And Napoli would 4-1 is a very conservative score with what Napoli were putting to Liverpool. They just looked dreadful. They looked absolutely shocking, and Liverpool, a shadow of their former self, a shadow of the squad that made the Champions League final last year. It's phenomenal, but Napoli, very direct football. They got the ball, they pushed it up. It was a fantastic performance on their end there. And they missed a penalty as well. Osimhen missed a penalty. Zielinski got on the score sheet twice. Anguissa and Simeone got his Champions League debut goal. And a beautiful story, he had the tattoo done on his wrist, which he kissed after when he was 14, and his father hated it. And it's a tattoo of the Champions League ball. And he said, one day I will play Champions League and score, and he did. Diaz got a consolation goal for Liverpool, but I have a feeling Liverpool may be heading to the Europa League if these performances do continue. That's just to say the least. But let's not hold on to there any longer. Atletico Madrid in Group B were facing Porto, and it looked like a boring game. After 90 minutes, it was 0-0. Somehow, it managed to finish 2-1 after 110 minutes, 111. Sorry, after 101 minutes, 11 minutes extra time, that is, played. Hermoso got on the score sheet after 1 minute of extra time. Then you had Uribe score a penalty after 6 minutes, and Griezmann, super sub, scoring the 11th minute goal in the 11th minute of extra time. It was a beautiful game there. The second game of Group B was Club Rouge hosting Leverkusen, and my gosh, Leverkusen were hard done by this. Their new offside goal line technology was brought into the Champions League this season, and it's already caused controversy. I don't know how it determined that he was offside in that position, but somehow it did, and it determined that he was offside, and it should have been 1-1. So the less we say about that fixture, that is the better. Group C, the group of death, as many have come to look at this. It was what you predicted. It was goals galore, and results go in the way of the two favorites of the group in Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But Barcelona, all last season, everyone said they're finished. Messi's gone. There's nothing happening. They signed Kese. He scores a goal. They signed Lewandowski. He scores a hat trick. And Torres rounded it out with a 71st minute goal, with Sakura for Victoria Pleasant scoring the only goal on their behalf right before the stroke of halftime. But they have announced themselves to the UEFA Champions League group stage, that is for sure. And they have also announced themselves as some genuine contenders when it comes to this sport. In the second round game of Group C, it was Bayern Munich taking on Inter Milan in Milan, and Milan showing a new look squad with a new goalkeeper in the sticks to start them off. And they had a new captain for the first time in a long time in the likes of Danilo D'Ambrosio, who coincidentally scored the own goal of the second half, but it was a Leroy Sané masterclass. Bayern really just they're relentless. And Onana in goals for the first time for Inter, you'd expect, a bit shaky, but it could have been 4-0, 5-0 easily. And Inter just had no attacking threat at all. The former champions of Italy really struggling in the group stage of the UEFA Champions League, that is for sure. There's really nothing to say there. Bayern Munich, they got the job done. They came, they saw, and let's just say they conquered, because that's exactly what happened. Let's move on to Group D. We'll start with Sporting, who were traveling to Frankfurt, and they faced Frankfurt in their fixture, and Sporting came away with a hat-trick of goals in the second half to win the fixture 3-0. And Antonio Conte's Tottenham got the job done with a Richarlison double. A Richarlison double in the second half. They were assisted with Marseille, who got a red card at the start of the second half. So Richarlison came in, he scored his double, he got it done. Antonio Conte got the 3 points and is looking to be a force. But our guest, well, I wouldn't say guest, my co-host, because he basically runs stuff around here, Anthony, has joined us. Anthony, how are you, mate?
You just started talking about Spurs. Antonio Conte is going to get to the quarterfinals with this Spurs side, and he's going to come second in the Premier League. And the respect that's on his name is just going to keep going up. Forza Antonio Conte, man. I like Richarlison. I've always liked Richarlison, bro. He's such a quality player, even though he's got a little bit of that Neymar-esque ego on him that I don't like, where he can get a little erratic. But he's a good player. This Spurs side look good. Good to see you, my brother. Happy Friday, man. Forza Football Worldwide.
Forza Football Worldwide. I have covered groups A through to D. We will come back to some of those fixtures because I do want to talk to you about, but let's quickly just run through the rest of them. We have Group E. Milan, champions of Italy, taking on Salzburg, and they drew 1-1 in what was a lackluster performance, to say the least. It was, in my opinion, it was quite a boring fixture. Ant, did you have anything to add for that AC Milan game?
Nah, remember when we made it back into the Champions League and you and I both knew we weren't going to get 3 points on the opening day of the season against, I think it might have been Slavia Prague or Sparta Prague, Slavia Praha, something along those lines right there. And we went with Conte and we needed a Barella goal in the 89th minute or something just to scrap the 1-1 draw. This is exactly what it was like for Milan in this particular scenario, man. Coming back, I mean, they were in the Champions League last season, but it's not easy. And this isn't going to be an easy group by any means, but other results have gone Milan's way on match day 1, meaning that Chelsea didn't get the 3 points desired. And Milan will be able to shake off this point without a problem, knowing that they can still win their home games and progress through to the round of 16 for the first time in a long time.
Yes, and we'll go on to that Dinamo Zagreb game. They defeated Chelsea in what seemed to be Tuchel's last game at the club, at the helm. With only 18 months ago, he defeated Manchester City in the Champions League final. He's now the first big name in the Premier League to get the sack. Not the first name, the first big name in the Premier League to get the sack. after losing to Dinamo. Was it inherited? Did he deserve it?
Who was the manager that won the Champions League with Chelsea and then got sacked last time? Was it Di Matteo?
Di Matteo, yes.
This Chelsea team, like the Chelsea model, and I thought it was the Abramovich model, but apparently not. It's literally, why let a manager run to the end of their painful cycle when you can just sack them and restart a cycle and keep winning? Because that's just what they're going to do. Chelsea's just going to keep sacking managers and winning. And the one thing I will say, though, is that Thomas Tuchel is a pain in the cooler. He's pragmatic. He's got an attitude. He's another Conte that's going to tell the board where to go.
Well, we saw what happened at Tottenham Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, this new manager that they've got, these new owners are probably thinking, let's get, Mr. Pain in the Cool or pragmatism out, and let's get the best yes man that we can find. Let's find a manager who is going to be very grateful to be here. Let's promote someone in good form. And alas, you have a Graham Potter at Chelsea.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's a good signing for him. I did personally think Klopp deserved to get the sack more than Tuchel did, especially considering the new management who's come in. But new management has said that this isn't a decision that eventuated as a result of the Dinamo fixture. This decision was made prior to the fixture just because, like you said, Tuchel's ego got the better of him. The new owners wanted something, and he just did not want a bar of it. They wanted to bring Ronaldo to the club. He said, no, I don't want him here. They wanted to change the formation up a bit. No, I don't want him here. They wanted to do so much more with this club and revolutionize it, to say the least. They're looking at the Manchester City model and what's happening there, and Tuchel didn't want it. So they're like, well, if you're not going to appease us, you need to get results. And that's exactly what they've done. They haven't gotten a single result. The one player I do feel for the most in this is Aubameyang, who, upon signing with Chelsea, said, I'm so grateful to be reunited with Tuchel. He got one game under it. I think it was 55 minutes played under Tuchel before he got the sack. Can Graham Potter carry this club to anything this season, or is it just riding them off now?
No, you can't write them off that early because it's way too many points still to pick up. I just think it was too soon, bro. Like, how do you not let Tuchel, after giving him 280 million euros, let him ride this out? At least half a season.
Exactly. But I just feel Graham Potter at Brighton, his standard is he's got a bunch of boys playing for him who are grateful to be playing in the Premier League, for starters. And their target is to not be relegated. Whereas you've got Chelsea now, where you've got a bunch of egos who are bigger than this manager. Let's admit it. A lot of these players are bigger than this manager, and they know that. And the target is silverware. Can he achieve it? It'd be nice to see it. I just don't think it will happen. I honestly thought Klopp would have been gone a lot quicker than Tuchel, but that just shows how much I know about the management system. Let's move on to Group F. We have Real Madrid, who belted Celtic 3-0. Real Madrid.
And just Celtic were over them like a rash in the jungle for 50 minutes, bro. I was so proud of Ange and Celtic, but it's Real Madrid, and simple as that. Against any other team, bar maybe a couple of others, this Celtic team would have really won this game comfortably.
Yeah, and look, Celtic's not an easy team. Don't get me wrong, but you're playing Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are just Real Madrid, who they're the champions, and they pulled off one of the, I think, best Champions League runs you would have ever seen last season in who they beat to get to where they were and then to finally win it. I just think you can never write off Real Madrid, and I don't think Ange felt hosting Real Madrid they were going to win it, but he did have a great performance there. But it's a 90-minute game, and unfortunately, Ange was shown that Shakhtar Donetsk traveled to RB Leipzig and put 4 past them in what was a phenomenal performance. But Ant, do you know who the manager at Shakhtar is at the moment?
Is it still De Zerbi?
No, he's gone.
When did De Zerbi leave Shakhtar?
I thought he had just signed for him, to be honest, last season, and he's gone. So
Zerbi Shakhtar. I didn't realize he wasn't there anymore.
it was interesting.
All right,
But
who is their coach? Oh, he left them by mutual consent on in July. There you
there
go.
you go.
I'm a
That's
little
very
behind on that.
interesting. Yeah, I'm a little behind on that too. I really thought he was doing his thing there at Shakhtar, but good to see them getting the 3 points. And Shakhtar needed really to beat RB Leipzig to get any chance of going into the next round. So it's a good run by them. Group G, Manchester City. I spoke to you earlier in the week and I said, traveling to Sevilla, Manchester City, Sevilla play well. And you go, Bruno, Manchester City will belt them. And that's exactly what they did. It was the Haaland and De Bruyne masterclass yet again,
You
as
can't
per
call it a
always.
master. You can't call it a masterclass if it happens every second game, and that's exactly what's going to happen this season. This is proper football quality on display here, like the best of the best in each position. It's very scary. Haaland will never have an easier season scoring goals. Look at the goals he scored. He's actually done nothing. He's done nothing. But in Dortmund, he
But
did
he's a
everything. He
number
scored his amazing
9.
goals. Exactly right. He's the best
Look
number
at
9.
what
He's the best
Miroslav
number
Klose
9.
did for Germany,
He's the
right?
best number 9 in the world,
Never
and he
scored
is
a goal
now.
from outside of the
Yeah,
box, but he's the highest goal scorer in World Cup history, right?
but the thing is with Haaland, he just like Klose, he just knows exactly the position to get in. He's got the athletic ability to do it, and he's got
His
the
physicality,
best service on the planet as well.
his physicality, his speed. He's got Cancelo feeding him, De Bruyne feeding him, Foden filling him, Mahrez feeding him. This guy's eating. It's like he's at a buffet, mate. It's ridiculous. And
100%.
yeah, Dortmund, well, they did what they needed to do against Copenhagen. No one really expected anything from them in the Champions League campaign. Sevilla, you really expect them to go back to their competition, which is the Europa League.
They'll
So,
probably win it as well.
yeah, that's what they do. But let's move on to Group H. Benfica defeated Maccabi Haifa in. I didn't even know they were a team, to be honest, until the Champions League draw. But
You don't remember playing them in the Europa League back in the day? I'm like 90% sure we might have.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, you're being
Definitely
sarcastic. My
later.
bad.
I just thought they were a team, and
Yeah, true.
they're not Champions League quality. They're the sheriff of last season, to be honest. But they did the job there, and PSG just made Juventus. I don't know. What do you want to say about that fixture? Because
Sorry, I was
Juventus
just curious.
don't look like they're progressing into the next stage if they go the way they're going.
Yeah,
Because Benfica's no walk in the park.
I was just about to say, Benfica know this competition very, very well. They'll make it very tough for Juve now, knowing that Juve didn't pick up any points in Paris. Juventus need to beat PSG in Turin now, which is going to be quite tricky. That Juve team was lucky it was 2-1. Some great saves from Perin. I think there was a deflection that just went wide as well. PSG could have smacked them up, but also Donnarumma is a little bit shaky. You know, they call him a generational talent, and I'll always appreciate what I've seen him do in good form for the Azzurri. But I'll tell you what, man, he's still a hot and cold goalkeeper for me. He still pulls off the world-class side of things, but he hasn't exactly let go of that temperamental side of him just yet, where he can get a little sloppy, and that's a little concerning. But that's also to be expected in a league like Ligue 1, where he probably, gets to sit down and have a croissant in between the two sticks every single game because he's not facing any goals. Same with why Manuel Neuer dominated for a stretch of years, but how many shots on target did he have to face playing for Bayern Munich?
And look, his match fitness wouldn't be all up there because last season he was competing toe-to-toe to get onto the starting lineup because he wasn't a starter. So he sat on the bench. His physicality, and I mentioned earlier before you jumped on, it's hard. But then you look at a goalkeeper like Onana, who hasn't played a game all season, chucked in for the Inter squad, first fixture of his Inter career against Bayern Munich, and I still think he was Inter's man of the match for that performance he pulled off. Just he's a breath of fresh air when it comes to the Inter squad, to say the least. When you've had Handanovic between the sticks for so long, and we're talking about generational talents, but let's talk about Inter as a team. They've had some fantastic goalkeepers over the years, Handanovic included. I think they've got one of the best goalkeeping outfits if you go down their list of goalkeepers throughout history, some of the names that pop up, it's just phenomenal. And Onana, I feel, will etch his name onto that list if he keeps getting starts. But Ant, what was your performance of the week in regards to Champions League?
Performance of the week has to go for me. Well, there's a few, like if we can honorably mention City for their dominance against Sevilla. That's still not an easy team to play against, even though it was an easy one for me to predict. But that's just going off Sevilla this season. Sevilla is still a very big football club. I think that Barcelona's 5-1 is very impressive. I know that some people are saying, that it's not a tough opponent, but this Barcelona team has cheated football, and unfortunately, I love seeing them play good football. I know they're a historic club, but how many other clubs in the world can get away with what they've done because of their name? Nobody. And it sucks.
You know what? That people are saying, look who they beat, but at the same time, when you've changed the squad the way you've changed it, it takes time to gel. But this team look like they've been playing together for the last 10 years, the way they've been stringing performances together. So I think the El Clasico, when it does come around, it's going to be one of the most tightly contested we'll see. But I think you and we're sharing the same performance of the week.
Oh, I don't know about that. I was actually going to say Bayern Munich for coming to the San Siro and keeping us goalless. At the end of the day, I'm an Inter fan, and I know that might seem a little bit biased, but to me, the way Bayern Munich came and slapped us in our home ground, that was a slapping, man. That could have been 3 or 4-0. They came there and made Inter at the San Siro look like a training game. And I know it's Bayern Munich, but just remember this Bayern Munich is actually going through some backroom issues. There's a couple of managerial staff in their team that don't get along with the ownership. Not to mention that the fans aren't happy, and Lewandowski has said there's a lot of problems. Man, I wish a lot of problems came with winning 10 titles in a row and looking the way that they do, because their first world problems are a whole different level when it comes to football. Same with Barcelona's. Am I missing a certain game? That was a really, really good one, because for me personally, watching Bayern come to the San Siro and slap us around like kids, to me, that's the performance of the match day. And Leroy Sané and Sadio Mane, get the hell out of here, bro. This quality is unbelievable. Unbelievable wide players. We could not cope. That's my 2 cents on this platform.
My performance of the week has to go to Napoli against.
Oh, yeah!
I thought that's where you were going with this. And I was like, we're on the same wavelength here. But it has to go to Napoli.
Napoli.
Liverpool always going to be favourites in that fixture, but Napoli just showed Liverpool how to play football, and it wasn't a possession game. Liverpool had over 60% of the ball, whereas Napoli, just when they got the ball, they were direct, in the Rita. They just went for goal. They put the ball in the back of the net. They picked it up. Let's go again. And, people have been playing too long trying to pass the ball, hold the ball. Let's do this 13, 14, 30 passes before we score a goal. Napoli, kick, bang, bang, go. Let's go again. And it should have been 5-0, 5-1, 6-1 at least. There was some chances missed. Osherman missing the penalty. And, some of these world-class players that, the Premier League has been boasting in Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold just did not look good at all. They were terrible, and it wasn't because they were terrible. It was because the way Napoli made them look. So I have to tip my hat to Napoli, to say the least. They really did pull a rabbit out of the hat, and I think against all odds, when you're playing a Premier League team, doesn't matter who you are, unless you're Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, the odds are always going to be against you, to say the least. So yeah, they're my ones to watch now. I really think that that they could go deep into this competition if injuries elude them.
They just could. I think that they have a great chance at winning the Scudetto as well, but I can talk more about Napoli, and we can talk more about Napoli. I want to ask you a question before I duck off and prep our inter-worldwide stream, which gets started in 10 minutes' time. This Liverpool side, a lot of these members of their squad have gone from generational world-class talents to, I think they should be dropped. And that doesn't usually come up in fan bases very often. Who are some of these Liverpool players that might be a little bit too systematic to you, that, you've never identified them as world-class, you've just identified them as world-class systematic players for Klopp? For me personally, both of their fullbacks are in that category to me.
Yeah, look, I compare Liverpool's current squad to the Italy team that won the Euros recently. They were the rave of the world. Why? Because they won a competition. But then they get easily exposed after that. And I just feel too many big money contracts have been handed to all of these players to the point where, well, I'm comfortable. I don't need to do much because for the next 4 years, I'm set on my, 30 million a year salary or whatever it might be. Because you look at Salah, you look at Van Dijk, you look at Alexander Arnold, the comfort is too much there. And I just think you look at Spain, how they dominated world football. I think it was from 08 to 2012. But then
2012, 2013-ish, yeah.
and then everyone learnt the way of Spain. And once everyone learnt the way of Spain, they sort of crumbled away a bit. Everyone learnt the way of Liverpool a lot quicker, and they just shut them down.
And to be hungry at the top level, you need to keep all the players on their toes. There's just too many players in that team that played in those Champions League finals and won that title that aren't being shaken up enough for their position depth-wise on the bench. You need to keep them. You need to keep the fear factor high in your starting 11 if you want to win trophies every season.
You look at Klopp, rather than a manager, he looks like to be too much of a friend to the players as well. Whereas you look at Pep, you're managing a team who's won everything other than the Champions League. They've won everything. They've broken all types of records, but he still puts the fear of God into them every time they're onto that pitch, and they respect him in that manner. And I just think, when you've got a team like Liverpool, who 3 weeks from the end of last season were in contention to win 4 trophies and walked away with nothing. No, 3 trophies and walked away with nothing. Well, it's sort of, to say the least, that there's an issue there. But I think we'll talk about that in a European sit-down in the World Cup break. We'll talk more of the demise of some of these teams, that's for sure. But is there anything else you wanted to add before we head to do another stream elsewhere?
No, that's it. Keep a lookout. Busy week, and I apologize for not putting out a Serie A roundtable, but that is definitely coming back after this week's matches. So keep a lookout. Thank you very much, Bruno.
And just to all of our football fans out there, I have gotten some breaking news. They are looking to postpone all English Premier League fixtures this weekend after the passing of Your Majesty the Queen. We'll leave politics out of this. So they more than likely won't have any Premier League fixtures to talk about. But in saying that, we will be discussing every other league. And when it comes to the Premier League, we'll probably talk management changes and everything. But from all of us here at Football Worldwide, thank you. Thank you for joining me, Anthony.
Mauro Icardi to Galatasaray is a disaster. I like Galatasaray. I've liked Galatasaray since 1998. I'm hella pissed. We'll talk more about
this. I like Galatasaray since Schneider. But we'll talk about that one on another note. I think we need to get Mario in for a stream. But we'll talk about that later. Thank you for joining us, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Ciao.
Ciao.